welcome back to the channel. So today, you see this thing here behind me? Yamaha Waverunner. So we are looking at doing some repairs to this. I'm going to take you around to the other side in a few minutes and show you what we're up against. The reason why I wanted to do a video on this is I was looking last year for information on these hulls, because they are different from a conventional, say, Sea-Doo hull or a jet boat hull. Yamaha does something totally different than what BRP does. So I want to touch on that because there is a lot to know, and you can't necessarily use the same stuff as you would with, say, a conventional fiberglass hull. So anyways, with the Yamahas, they call their hulls a Nano X Cell Hull. So Nano, N-A-N-O, the letter X, and then Cell, C-E-L. So they're also known as an FRP, which stands for Fiberglass Reinforced Plastic. So that being said, the word plastic is in here. Conventional fiberglass repair materials, like resin, won't work here. You could, there is a way to do it. It's not recommended from Yamaha. So the first thing I want to tell you, that if you are looking at doing a repair like this on a Yamaha hull, I highly recommend you go to your Yamaha dealer and get the manual. They actually put out a manual just for this repair, and it touches on all of their hulls, because their jet boat hulls, again, are different from their from their PWC hulls. So there is a part number here. I'm going to put this up here for you. See if we can do that. And here we go. So this is your hull repair manual. So again, highly recommend you get yourself one of these. So again, our conventional stuff won't work on here. So we're looking at using epoxy on here. Mentioned a few days ago about Cavasil. That's what I needed most of my Cavasil for, is going to be for this project itself. Well, one of the projects anyways. So again, you're looking at doing a repair on a hull that has plastic in it and even wax. So when these hulls are manufactured, they have a mold release, which is going to be similar to a wax, or it is a wax, or PVA, polyvinyl alcohol, and that's sprayed in the mold. But during the curing process and everything, that is actually attached to this hull right here. So the problem with using a normal polyester resin is not that the resin itself won't adhere to this, it's because the resin, when it's curing with the hardener. So the problem that we have with doing a repair on this FRP hull, that's what we're going to call it instead of NanoXCel, we're just going to call it an FRP hull, is there's plastic in here, there's wax in here. So the problem using a polyester resin to repair this is, we're not saying that the polyester resin won't bond to this. If you're able to control your temperatures and that's all you have, I mean, that's going to work for you. But to do a proper repair that you're not going to have to worry about down the road, you definitely want to use the epoxy. So the curing process is where everything kind of comes into play here. And with polyester resin, when you mix it, you can control how quick that's going to cure for you. But if you've ever worked with it, it slowly builds up in temperature, and then all of a sudden, bam, and it goes super hot, and then it cools right down. And I mean, you're able to lay this up and come back to it, you know, once it's hard, and you're good to go. And that's usually, you know, anywhere of 30 minutes, sometimes less, up to an hour, and again, depending on your temperatures. So the problem with this is the fast curing process actually pulls the wax out of the hull, and you don't get a good bond. So that's where the issue comes to play. The other side of it too is when you're actually sanding the hull, if you're going too fast, if you're using like an air tool or an electric tool and you're burning one spot, it will actually pull the wax and it will smear it. And that's again going to be an issue for you when you go to lay up, because now that wax, you're actually pulling it out of the hull and spreading it across your working area, and you're going to try to lay up on that and you're not going to get a very good bond. So a lot of factors at play with this. These are fairly complex hulls. Yamaha itself in the manual doesn't even recommend repairing them, but I think they had to come up with some sort of a repair process, seeing as though you can't just buy a hull for this, split it in half, put a new bottom on, and away you go. So the power to weight ratio on these things are awesome. That's why they're so fast. But when you have to repair them, things get complicated. So in order to repair them, you're going to be using 1 to 3 or 1 to 5 or 1 to 2, whatever epoxy that's available to you that you feel comfortable using. You're going to be using an epoxy resin. You're going to be mixing up your paste basically. So you're going to be making, and I'm sure you guys all know this, you got your ketchup, you got your mayonnaise, you got your peanut butter. It's all whatever consistency you need, and you're going to control it with your Cavicil, your micro balloons, and whatever chop strand that you decide to put in there. So at this point, it's totally up to you on what you want to do. The more filler that you can add, the stronger it's going to be. The more different fillers that you can add, the stronger it's going to be. So if you mix Cavicil by itself, it's going to be strong. But if you can mix some chop strand in with that then too, it's going to be even stronger. So it depends on what you're working at, and then your micro balloons, if you're looking for like, you know, to be able to finish it off and, you know, not a lot of sanding, because I mean, who wants to sit there and sand all day? That's where your micro balloons are going to come in and help you, you know, make this process a little bit faster for you. Anyways, so with that being said, I think that covers what we're up against here. So I'm going to take you over here to the other side, and I'm going to give you a quick boo about what's going on. Okay, everyone. So here we go. I'm just going to come around here, and I mean, we got a little bit of damage here, as you can see. But as we work our way around, here we go. I'm gonna see if this is gonna focus here for you a little bit. So there we go, that's our main damage right here, and it goes pretty much all down that side strake. So if you can look in here, and we're all the way through, and we're into the foam already and behind here. And as you can tell, I'm gonna kind of turn here a little bit like this. This hull is not very thick at all. So if you're used to working with conventional fiberglass, most areas are fairly thick. We're talking 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch and even thicker, right? This, because this here is up, you know, on a corner or a radius, it's a little bit thicker. But as you start progressing up here and coming down the hull here, it gets really thin. And then the other difference with this than, say, a Sea-Doo is this whole bottom is painted. It's a urethane paint, and it's not gel coat. So you can probably tell up here, we're talking paper thin, right? So this gets to be a little bit challenging. So anyways, I'm gonna bring you down here. We got damage running, you know, along that whole corner. Then we have a bunch of damage up in here. And then we got some damage on the strake, and right on that center chine is damaged front to back basically. So the plan with this is going to be the whole port side, and this is where most of the damage is basically a complete respray, right? So just looking on the other side right now, I'm not sure exactly where I'm ending this or what I'm gonna do. There's not a lot of damage on the other side, really hate to spray the entire unit if I don't have to. Just a lot more work. So we're going to work on this side anyways. We're going to work on getting all our repairs. Now we're going to see where that leads us, and then we're going to see what we're going to do. Ideally, if this was flipped over, that would be awesome. That's not going to be something that we're going to be able to do here right now. And I'm just going to show you a little bit more damage. So these are all scratches and whatnot. This isn't structural down here. There's not a lot of structural repair on here. It's more cosmetic than anything. And just going to bring you, obviously that's the big damage. I'm going to bring you right back here to the corner. And you're going to see here on the corner too, if I can get in there close enough. Oh, where are we here? There we go. And we're cracked through here. And I mean, to be honest, we're barely just rubbed through, like paper thin. Like, I mean, we're talking 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch thick right here. So pretty tricky, right? I mean, your conventional glass repair doesn't really work in this situation, right? And we don't have access to the inside. This is foam right here. And obviously the footboard is right here, right? And you would think going inside the boat you would have full access, but Yamaha runs a double hull, so the inside is actually, the inside where the engine is, it's all plastic. And I'm gonna see if I can show you in here a little bit. See up the side here. Let me see here. So all up in there, that's a complete separate hull, right? So there's no access to the outside of the boat at all through here. And this is molded plastic basically inside. So anyways, these repairs are going to be done externally because there's no way of getting inside to do anything. So we're going to roll with that. I'm just going to put this camera back up. We're just going to talk about a few steps that I've already done, and that'll probably be the video then for today. Okay, so we're back at the bench here, and so what I did is I brought this thing in. We took it off the trailer basically, as you can tell. We got it hanging off the gantry at the back. We got a makeshift A-frame here at the front, which is more than solid enough. And I got my 2 stands just to allow some stability and a little bit of a safety precaution, right? So I brought it in and I washed it down. That's the first thing you have to do. Basically when you do any repairs, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you know that. So anything on this hull has to be washed off. You want to get all your wax off, any polish, any dirt, oil, grease, anything like that you want to clean. So I did a 2-bucket wash system. 1 bucket had spray 9 in it, and that was my cleaning additive. The other bucket was just water. So, you know, wash it, scrub it with the water and spray 9 solution, rinse it off with a rag and water. Obviously, if I could have did this outside, it would have been awesome, but it's winter. So anyways, we won't go there. And so that's all done. Now, another thing is, if you're used to doing fiberglass repair, you're probably using acetone or some sort of solvent for a cleaner. On this particular unit, it's urethane paint. So first of all, they don't recommend using acetone on urethane paint because it will dull your finish. And excessive use of acetone on urethane paint will cause damage. Not gonna say it's gonna take the paint off. It could, I guess. But you're gonna dull it out and it's just gonna be like a blotchy, you know, sore spot that you don't wanna see basically. So what do you use? Anyways, rubbing alcohol. So this is isopropyl alcohol. It's 99.99%, and basically it's just rubbing alcohol. So there are other solutions out there, but they're watered down. You want the most cleaning power that you can get. So 99.99% rubbing alcohol is the stuff that you want, or isopropyl alcohol. So my next step right now before I start grinding, doing anything else, is I've already washed this down. I've gone over it multiple times. I've gotten all the big dirt off of it. Everything looks clean. I was able to survey the entire bottom of the hull. Kind of got a feeling for what I'm up against now. I'm now going to take my jug of alcohol here and I'm going to wipe everything down. So that's 100% safe on here. You're not going to cause any damage. The other nice thing about this is that it's easier on the user basically. I mean, still recommend wearing gloves and a mask or a respirator, but not as dangerous, I guess, as what acetone would be, is if you're absorbing alcohol or acetone obviously with your bare hands or breathing in the fumes. This is a little bit better for working inside the shop, especially in colder weather. Still recommend having some airflow somewhere, but a little bit safer in the end. So that's the next step. I'm going to wipe this entire hull down with the alcohol, and then basically my main issue here is that big hole over on the port side, and that back corner has a stress crack in it. So those are the two areas that really have to be repaired well, properly, and strong. So that'll be in the next video when we start opening that up and come up with a game plan for that. The rest of the stuff, we're going to be fairing that in. We're going to be using an epoxy fairing compound. And again, being what this is, epoxy is going to be the way to go. So you're going to need your epoxy fairing compound, you're going to need your epoxy resin, epoxy hardener, you're going to need some fillers, so you're going to need Cabicil, you're going to need chopped strand matte fibers, and obviously all the other stuff that you need for doing glass repair. You're going to need your paint brushes, clean, either clean rags, so these are clean, or paper towel. And you're going to hear a lot of guys preach paper towel, and I do use paper towel time to time. I've never really had a problem with these rags. These rags are medical grade. They do come from ERs, fully washed, brought up here. I've never had an issue using these rags, so this is mostly what I use. If you're not sure where your rags come from, or you're not sure about what detergent they're in or anything else like that, any residue on the rag could potentially cause an issue with your end result for your paint, for your overall layup, and any bonding issues down the road. So if you're not sure, paper towel is the way to go. You're going to see me using a cross of paper towel and rags. But other than that, I think we got it mostly all covered, and I apologize if some of this is a little bit dry, but I find that the dry stuff is always the most important stuff, so that's the stuff you got to pay attention to. All the exciting grinding and filling and playing with stuff, that's the fun part, but if you don't do your proper prep, if you fail to use the wrong stuff, or you fail to get a clean hull before you start working, you start bringing all your contaminants into your work area, you're wasting your time, because your end result, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to look good. You're going to have issues, and the repair could fail. So it takes time. I get that. It's a pain in your butt, but a lot of this is all in the prep and how you take care of your materials that you're working with, and how you prepare to go in to do the repair side of it. It's the easy part. It's the prep. It's all the cleaning, and then your final at the end after your paint. It's your final sanding. All the stuff that takes a lot of time. That's the boring stuff, is what it is. So anyways, I'm going to leave you on that. I hope that helps you out with any of this FRP stuff or the Nano X Cell Hull stuff. That's going to give you a good base. If you don't watch the rest of the videos that are going to follow on the repair side of this, I think this first video is pretty much going to set you up for either A, the materials that you need, or the precautions that you need to do. And I know I'm dry and everything else, but if you go and get yourself the manual for these two. It's going to lay everything out for you in that as well, and give you a very good breakdown of what you need to do, the precautions you need to do, and how to do the proper repairs. So just so you're aware, if you got to repair a Waverunner, totally different than a Sea-Doo hull. The old school Sea-Doo hulls anyways, pure fiberglass. So I'm going to leave it on that note now. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I really appreciate that in advance. And have a great day, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.